Yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum. 15 men on a dead man's chest. Yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum. Rick and the...
Hit the top. Comiholics. Comiholics. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Woo!
Yay!
We got this party started. Welcome to Comiholics, episode number whatever this is. I'm not sure anymore.
42.
And we are here in Comiholics HQ in the Apocalypse's basement, bringing you our latest episode. And this episode will be the first to...
Brought to you by the letter...
Q.
Q.
And the number 4. This episode will be the first one to go up on YouTube, as well as our other feeds.
Oh, gosh.
So all you YouTube fans out there who tune in for Pop Culture Network stuff, welcome to the program. As you can see, we've just thrown up some photographs in the feed. You're not getting an actual video, but at least it's something to look at. Maybe I'll put up the picture of the hors d'oeuvres first, since those will be disappearing pretty quickly.
I figure we need to eat at some point.
Well, you got to eat. So, we... well, okay, I got to talk to you, Apocalypse.
Okay. Is
All
this
right.
serious?
This is serious.
I don't like to talk about serious things.
There are some
Not without a
changes.
script. I want a script.
There are changes coming to the
I need
Pop
to
Culture
speak to my
Network.
agent.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Now,
Uh-oh. Oh, I've heard this speech before. Last time I heard this speech, I spent 6 weeks at home.
you're a very valued employee. You know we love you. No, basically, we're kind of shifting the Pop Culture Network a little bit. The Pop Culture Network is basically made up of 2 parts, okay? There's the core component, which is here in Springfield, and then there's our contributors. And our contributors live in, like, North Carolina and New York and over in England and wherever, and they send us, their stuff. But for the core component here in Springfield, we're moving into more of these long format shows.
Okay.
So we've got a toy podcast called It Figures.
Right.
We've got a video game one, Video Game Losers, and Comiholics is our comic one. Comiholics, we need to...
Ooh.
Either...
I feel like I'm being presented a challenge.
Well, either we need to do it weekly
if
or
you're willing
bi-weekly.
to accept this challenge. Oh, really? Well, so we got to step it up.
We either have to do it every week or every other week. And I'm fine with doing every other week for a while, to kind of hit a rhythm. But we need to do it every week or every other week. And we need to get it. It doesn't matter.
If we're doing a weekly, then we're going to have a longer discussion about current titles.
Well, that's the part of the thing is the show needs to go down to about an hour and a half, not 2 hours and 20 minutes like we tend to do.
Right. Well, that's when we're doing monthlies.
So, hour.
And we've been experimenting this with, because, we did a Comiholics Light.
Right. And that's kind of what Light turned it. But Light is on one topic. And I would like to talk about current books and then, some sort of trade or collection or miniseries or something.
Right,
but okay, so let's say we do it every other week. We need to, even if we don't record it at the same day, it needs to be ready to go up the same day every week.
Okay.
So, like, if we want it to go up on Mondays, we have to make sure that it's ready.
That week
right.
Okay.
Anytime during that week and then have it up on Monday. Or if we want to do it, I think we want to do it Mondays. Mondays, I think, is a good spot.
Because then we still have Sunday as a last resort to get it done.
Right. And Sunday is usually a pretty big open day.
Deadlines, people. No, I'm down with that. I'm cool with that. I think probably every 2 weeks is probably
and one
more realistic right now.
And I want to do it before Wednesday, just because Wednesday is New Comic Day. And
yeah, we review a lot of stuff that comes out
right. Well, and that's
2 weeks in advance.
With Monday being the first day, it's like, with Wednesday being the first day, it's like if you do a show Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, people are going to expect your new books, to be right then and there.
Right.
So I'm thinking, either we put it up Sunday night, we put it up Monday afternoon, Monday night, somewhere. I think Monday night would be fine. I think Monday at like 9 p.m. or something like that. But so anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at. That's
fantastic.
That's the real of the situation. So
I thought this was going to be bad news.
Oh, it is bad news. You got to read more comics.
Oh.
I'm going to eat this cheesy ravioli. Go ahead and tell people your life story.
My life story.
Uh-huh.
Well,
I'm eating cheesy ravioli.
I lived in a zoo
Uh-huh.
most of my life.
In Florida?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
It was a science experiment.
Yeah.
I was given some drugs, radioactive drugs.
No, that wasn't an experiment. That was a dude with a Volkswagen van.
He said it was radioactive.
And it wasn't really an experiment. Well, it was an experiment because he made that stuff in his basement.
Oh, okay.
But, he just wanted to know if you're going to die.
Either way, I thought I was an orangutan for the longest time.
That's pretty good. All right. Cheesy ravioli aside now. People have been listening to the show regularly. They know for about the last 3 months I've been meaning to bring you something and I keep forgetting. I finally remembered tonight.
Oh, what is it?
I snuck it in when you weren't paying attention. This is what I've been promising you.
Ooh, a neon lamp. Nice.
A martini glass neon lamp.
Fantastic. Well, this will have to go up. During the break, I'll put it up. And then we'll gaze upon it.
Because we'll figure out... Because you got to find an outlet.
Oh, it's a battery-powered here, is it? Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Maybe.
No, UL adapter. Well, maybe it can be both then. I don't know. But nothing too, special or amazing. I wanted to get the one... They apparently had one that was a beer mug, but I couldn't find the beer mug anywhere. So I got the martini glass.
That's fine.
It's
suiting.
So... Oh,
well,
you know
great.
what? You know what? I need to get a picture so we can put it into the podcast feed at some point. Yeah, with the big clearance price tag on it. Woo!
Here, let me do the other here.
With the big price I didn't pay on it.
The one that says $24.99 on there so everybody can think that you're not cheap. Thanks. Appreciate it, Dirk.
So there's something else for Comiholics HQ here. And then, like I said, when the weather gets nice, I think it'd be nice to do some of these out in your bar.
Well, the next phase of my house projects is to revamp the bar, probably get a dumpster and do a little cleaning out and resuscitate my bar out there.
Oh, here, I'm going to switch this real quick.
Oh, are we okay?
Maybe you'll sound a little better now.
Was I in mono?
Well, no, you just need to talk louder.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we need to move this closer.
Here, we'll scoot this around. Scoochy, 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 scoochy,
Ooh,
scoochy.
it's Gucci.
Scoochy. All right, now, this is segment 1 of Comiholics.
Right.
Even though we're about, 7.5 minutes into it. Let's talk about what we've been reading.
Okay, last time I made you go first.
You didn't make me do nothing. I chose to go first. I will punch you right in your pie hole.
So, let's see. As far as digital comics, I've been reading a lot of.
I've been spending way too much money on Comixology.
Yeah, me too.
I just sit there and I'm like, I'd like to read.
It's so easy to just go, oop, that's mine now.
Yeah, it's like
press a little button.
99-cent sale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, it's like the heat from your finger doesn't actually touch the screen and it already selects it. It just knows. Did you read Nancy in Hell?
No.
The next issue came out. That was really good.
I have not been reading.
Nancy in Hell is basically about this woman named Nancy who is paired up with Lucifer. Somehow Hell is on Earth, and there's all these demons walking the Earth, and Nancy has this ability with a chainsaw to kill demons. And it's mostly boobies and nice butt shots and blood and gore, and there's really no premise to it whatsoever.
Is it kind of like...
Other than the fact that, for some reason, Lucifer is this, long, blonde-haired, wimpy guy that, just, wants to, have everybody love each other. But he's Lucifer. It's really bizarre.
Is this does it feel like it's a Xenoscope book?
Yes.
Like a Grimm Fairy Tales type of thing?
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Scarlet Spider. Did you read that?
I have not.
Okay. Well, Scarlet...
Well, you can talk about it.
Okay, well, I'm going to.
Jeez.
Scarlet Spider is Kane, which is Peter Parker's clone.
Right.
From Spider Island. At the end of Spider Island, he's freed. And he ends up in Austin, Texas. I believe it's Austin. Or Houston. In Texas. And he's basically trying to run away to Mexico, but somehow gets involved in a lot of evildoers.
Because every time a hero tries to get away, they get pulled right back in.
He gets sucked right back in. So he's torn between, doing good or just being selfish because he's got a big bag full of money.
Although, wait. I take that back. I did read the current issue.
Issue 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Where I think it was in issue 3, because there's the scene where he's like thinking to himself, and he's swinging along from building to building,
Right.
and he's like, well, the one thing I got to figure out is, and he's sitting there in midair, just kind of floating. He's like, what the hell happened to all the buildings?
Right.
Oh, damn it! This isn't New York.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just like, stupid Texas.
I actually kind of like the character because he's like the bad boy version of Peter Parker.
Yeah.
He's he doesn't have all the good qualities. He's not innocent at all. In fact, he's not trying to go out and do good. He just sort of stumbles upon it. So, I don't know, it's a good story. I mean, it's only a few issues deep, so there's not a lot to talk about. Obviously, it's just all character development right now. What about Captain Atom?
I'm not current on it. I have them, but I haven't read all of them.
Excuse me, folks. I've had allergies.
Yeah.
I didn't read the last one, but I am current up to issue 6.
What do you think of it?
I like it.
I think the story is okay. I don't think the story is anything earth-shattering, I wouldn't say, oh, this is the greatest book.
It's not my favorite 52.
Right. But it's okay. It's entertaining.
It's better than The Ray.
Well, but I think I'm still... The artwork still annoys me.
Who's
Of Captain Atom. Freddie Williams. Who normally I like, but on this title he does that crazy style where...
It's kind of like Japanese anime or something. I don't know how to describe it. It's got that,
Well, it's the way that Captain Atom is the only one who actually has lines around him. Everyone else is just those...
Oh, no, not Japanese. I'm sorry. It reminds me of kind of like that 70s style, where everything's kind of penciled differently.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Like the early Swamp Thing stuff.
Yes. But I think it by doing that, it kind of brings out an interesting characteristic, kind of sets itself apart a little bit.
It does, but I just liked his style when it was normal, and he's not doing normal, so it's just kind of like, I wish he'd go back to what he was doing.
What about Incredible Hulk?
I have those. I haven't read them yet. I actually just bought them the other day.
Well, at the very end of issue 6, basically, Incredible Hulk holds Bruce Banner in place as this gamma bomb goes off, and then it's just the island that Incredible Hulk had banned Bruce Banner to blows up in this big A bomb, and that's the end of issue 6. So, what had happened in Incredible Hulk was Incredible Hulk was divided from Bruce Banner. I believe it was it Magneto that did it? I think it was Magneto.
No, my own.
And no, I'm sorry, it was Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom did it.
Why did Doctor Doom do it?
Because Doctor Doom wanted to use Bruce Banner for something else, and that was the deal. Doctor Doom said, "Okay, I will separate you from Bruce Banner," and he had this host body that he put Bruce Banner in, separated their minds. And then, in the end, I guess, the Hulk's like, no, I'm not going to let you use him. And then he takes Bruce Banner away and then leaves him on this, island, this, deserted island. I don't remember how he gets a hold of a gamma bomb. And then there's this whole thing where, Bruce Banner's trying really hard to basically get the powers back. So he's doing all these experiments on all the animals on the island. And turning
so Bruce Banner
these...
wants to be the Hulk again?
I think, he kind of goes mad. He's torn. He knew that he wanted to be separated from the Incredible Hulk, but then once he is, he wants it back. He wants the power back. So he goes mad and tries to do all these experiments on all these animals on the island, turns them into Hulk-like creatures to seek out the Incredible Hulk. Or actually, no, to seek out other animals until he gets his experiment right, basically. So then the Incredible Hulk is teamed up with this supernatural team that specializes in mad scientists. Yeah.
So is this like Island of Dr. Moreau or something?
Kinda. But the art, I really like the art, and the story's kind of fun.
Kinda.
No, I like it. I was entertaining.
I was entertaining.
It was entertaining. Excuse me. I was entertained.
Well, I know, and people were saying that 1 through 3 is a first arc, and then 4, 5, 6 is a second arc, and
It's pretty much the same arc.
well,
But I thought it was a good read. I enjoy it. It's like the only Hulk I read too. Like
cheesy ravioli.
I don't care for. I've never really cared for Incredible Hulk until I started reading these. So, how about Carnage USA?
Nope.
Okay,
I mean,
good one.
you can talk about it if you want to.
It's good. Well, I don't remember all the names and stuff, so I'm gonna butcher it. Long story short, there's team of
Carnage take over a small town or something?
Yeah, well, Carnage took over a small town, and there's like a team of Carnage-like government agents sent in to get him. Like, first the Avengers go in, and then Carnage, like, takes them over.
Huh.
So then they're like, oh, crap, what are we going to do now? So then they send in a team of, government agents that are, Navy SEAL specialists, but they're all, have the Carnage powers.
Weird.
In the end, it ends up being Venom, who is Flash.
Right.
He saves the day at the end,
Huh.
basically.
Is it over?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's over now.
What about your print books?
Yeah, I was trying to make sure, because I read a lot of scans. Supergirl, did you read any of the Supergirl?
I haven't read the latest issue. Like, I've read up to where that other chick is there, and she's like the weapon from Krypton
Right.
or whatever, and she basically just beats the crap out of her and then leaves her as kind of like a taunt.
Right.
You'll never be able to stop me. I'm too powerful. But that's far.
Obviously, she frees herself from Krypton, goes back to Earth to defend her.
Right. But just haven't read it yet.
How about the end of Luther Strode?
Yes. Wow, Luther Strode. That was a great series. I don't know. Maybe we should save that one to talk about that as a complete series. But this is the story. I tried to tell you to read this series, and you were making fun of me. There's a guy named the librarian. I'm a giant jerk face. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying I was a giant jerk face.
Yeah, and
thanks, Dirt.
And then, but wasn't that a fantastic series?
Yeah, it was good.
Like, I almost think we should save that. We should save
We
that.
will. And I don't know who the writer or the artist is either, dude. They're kind of new, aren't they? Or new to me.
Well, it's not going to be on the cover there, son.
Oh, I just had it.
Listen up, Junior.
I just had it. It was pulled up right there. There it is.
Who'd you poo on? Let me see. Do I have mine here?
Justin Jordan and Tradmore.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, Strange Talent of Luther Strode, definitely worth reading.
6 issues, right?
I thought it was 5. No, it was 6. Yeah, it's 6.
So there's that. Winter Soldier. Did you read any of those?
No.
I haven't read the last one yet. And then what about Wolverine and the X-Men?
No, I don't read that one at all.
That one's good.
It says X-Men. It's like Kryptonite.
Wonder Woman.
Nope.
Okay.
I haven't been reading that one.
Okay. I'm not going to talk about every single one that I'm reading. We'd be here all night. Red Lanterns.
Nope.
Avengers Academy.
I try not to. I get sucked into it sometimes but I don't know. Every issue now feels like a bad made-for-TV special episode. Oh, he's your father. Dun dun dun. They have feelings for each other.
Which makes
dun dun dun.
Which makes sense because Christos Gage wrote a lot of made-for-TV shows.
Well, then there you go.
How about Green Lantern?
No, I haven't been keeping up on it.
Basically, Mysterio still has
Mysterio.
Sinestro. Sorry, Sinestro still has Green Lantern.
His ring.
Yeah, he still he's still giving him his ring, but yet he's still under his servitude.
Okay.
So, Batgirl.
Yeah. I remember reading it. I don't remember anything about it. I just remember there was that whole thing with her mom appearing, but then she's just like, "Let's have coffee. I hate you," and then she left. And
I still prefer
Stephanie Brown. Yeah, I agree on that one. You and me, and nobody else apparently.
Everybody's like, "Oh, Barbara's
Everybody
back."
else in the world hated Stephanie Brown, and I have never figured out why. Because she was Robin for 2 minutes, and they faked her death and then brought her back. That's the only thing I can find that people hate about her, is a bad storyline from 8 years ago.
So, but I wonder if any of them actually read it.
Probably not.
How about Batman and Robin?
Not current on it.
Well, so it kind of ties in with the Batman story with the Society of the Owls.
Okay, from regular Batman?
Right. And there's basically this guy is out to defeat Batman.
Right, and he knows his secret identity.
Right.
He knows who Robin is. He knows who Damian is.
He knows he's Damian.
Right.
So he's trying to convince Damian to turn on Batman and become evil.
Right. I got that.
But in the end, Damian was actually kind of playing both sides. Like pretending that, I hate my father, But in the end, he was actually with his dad all along.
Or he says.
Well, I don't know. Kid's pretty twisted.
He just goes with
Kid
whoever's
has some
the winner.
emotional problems. What about The Flash?
What about the Flash?
Have you read it?
I don't know if I'm current on it or not. I remember him getting shot, and then there's the issue after that, where he's like, I don't understand why I got shot. I guess I must have been thinking about it too long, and then I don't know if there was another one after that, or
It's been a while since I actually read this last issue. I have to.
which issue number is that?
This is 4.
Yeah, there's going to be some since that.
Yeah.
It's going to be at least 6 or 7. They're on 6 and 7s now.
Yeah.
Well, what else you got?
Okay. Kick-Ass 2.
Didn't finish it.
Okay.
You can talk about it if you want.
There's just so much, I mean, where do I draw the line? I was trying to find something that, we could both share. So,
What are we on, a date?
yes.
Well, then hand me a PBR, get me drunk. Have your way with me later.
Yes!
I mean, wait, what? Woo!
There you go.
PBR me. ASAP.
Basically, Hit Girl is fully involved again in issue 6. And in the end, Red Mist stages like this big riot of super criminals
Doesn't he
in
try
Times Square, and there's a big face-off
Yeah.
between the superheroes and the villains in Times Square.
And Red Mist's like eye patch Russian
Right.
chick who kills everybody.
But I love this right here. This was like my wallpaper on my phone for
With
the
Hit Girl?
longest time. Yeah, which I can't actually say it because there's lots of expletives.
Well, I'm glad to know you have standards for this
Yeah.
show.
I'm trying.
If you're going to have standards for a show, you might as well make it this one.
So,
All right, pick 2 more books.
2 more books.
2 more books you want to talk about.
Of course. That one.
Well, we can talk about that one at the end.
Okay, fine. Okay, I don't know. How about that one and that one?
All right, what do you want to say about them?
Excuse me. Swamp Thing Reborn.
Okay, what about it?
Basically, Alec finally makes a decision to become Swamp Thing for good. To save... what's that girl's name? To save a girl, basically, who's been taken over by what they call the Rot.
Okay.
Which is like the anti-green.
Uh-huh.
And basically all of the elder Swamp Things are, very disappointed in Alec because he wouldn't, become Swamp Thing to begin with. But in the end, he does. And takes over, and then at the end of this issue 7, he is Swamp Thing, for real. He is no one... Because before...
Swamp
he was
Thing was
Alec
like this.
separated from Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing was kind of like Bigfoot living out in the swamps.
Right.
And Alec was just like a dude trying to recover his life.
Right.
Okay. So he's basically given up his humanity by his own choice and gone back to being the monster.
Yep.
Okay.
And apparently he's a little different than what we're used to seeing Swamp Thing, too. Like, he can sprout wings.
Oh.
Like, he can become different animals, I'm thinking. So I'm really interested to see where that's going. This is Scott Snyder.
That's a trippy looking cover.
Yeah. And it's Yannick Paquette, I
Yeah.
believe. I love the art. It's very trippy. It's very like
It totally
60s,
looks like, I was going to
70s.
say, that's like a album cover from 1968.
That's right. This is my band's album cover. It was
Dude,
great.
this is my
Rock.
band, the Swamp Things.
Rocked. We're called Swap Things.
We were at Woodstock East on the third stage, midnight on Tuesday.
So then, the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Donatello.
Part of that miniseries.
Yeah, so it's a mini-series about Donatello. Basically, he's...
Let me ask you this. Did you read a lot of Turtle stuff in the past, or is this the first series you've really gotten into?
I loved the Turtles when I was a kid.
Okay. How do you feel this Turtles... Like, obviously there's some things that are going to be different. They started over,
there's more
whatever.
depth, there's more...
But, I mean, do you feel like it's true to the Turtles?
I don't remember everything
Right.
from when I was a kid, but it seems to... I don't think they're manipulating too much. I mean, I'm sure Ryan Porter and Selene would probably have something to say about that. But in my eyes, it doesn't seem like it's that much different. They've changed it. There's some few alterations, but for the most part, they're minute. It still blends well. I mean, like...
Minute.
Yeah, it's
Isn't he a
small.
basketball player or
Yes.
something?
Real tall guy.
Well, okay.
I think the biggest difference is how the villains become to be. Like, it's a little different.
Have you heard the news about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie?
Oh, no.
Michael Bay
Oh, of course.
wants to produce the new
Sure.
movie. He says he's working on a backstory for the Turtles. They're going to be hip. They're going to be cool. They're aliens.
Oh, come on. Really?
Yes, that's what he said.
Aliens?
And your reaction right here is exactly the same reaction everyone else has had. Oh, come on, man.
I mean, they're turtles. They were science experiments.
No, they're apparently from Dimension X.
Great.
They're aliens from another dimension, I guess. or
Now, there
something.
is like a tie-in in the main title where there's like this alien race that like... And I vaguely remember there being alien involvement.
Well,
yeah,
in
like a supervillain, one of the supervillains.
well, I mean, there were lots of different things going on at the same time, but I remember early on in the original Turtles series from the '80s, the orange Triceratops looking dinosaur guys were actually
Right.
aliens from another planet.
I think those guys are back in this series, in the main title.
See, I still haven't read beyond the first couple issues. It's just one of those things I need to sit down and
Well,
read.
it's nostalgic, it's fun, it seems pertinent, it seems like it has weight to it, if you're a Turtles fan, so...
And it sells really well. I can tell you that's one of the top-selling books in our store.
Well, if I had extra money, I'd be going back and getting variants.
Yeah.
I would. I just kind of strapped.
Alrighty
That's
then.
me. That's me.
I'm not going to talk about as many books as you did because we are 27 minutes into the show. But some of the ones I do want to bring up: The Secret History of D.B. Cooper. This
Is that like an old comic?
no, this is brand new from Oni Press.
D.B. Cooper, though? That sounds...
Yeah, well, D.B. Cooper, he was the guy who hijacked an airplane.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He got the briefcase full of money,
Yeah,
parachuted out, was
disappeared.
never found again.
Yeah, like
Right.
$50,000 or something.
Something outrageous. Well, this basically in this book,
Who's the writer?
Brian Churilla,
Okay.
he's writer and artist. Basically, D.B. Cooper is an agent for the government, and he has this ability where he goes into a trance, and when he goes into the trance, he shifts into this alternate reality. When he's in this alternate reality, he's got like a katana sword, and there's like a talking rabbit that leads him around.
Is it a white rabbit?
And no, well, maybe
Down a hole?
Doesn't matter. But regardless, the point is though, he'll be in this alternate reality, and he's looking for like the giant monster in the forest. And so he and the rabbit look for the giant monster. He finds the giant monster, and he cleaves the giant monster with his katana sword. Well, then it's like, meanwhile, in the real world, and you see like this Russian general sitting at his desk, and like the secretary brings in the tea, and he's like, tea, blah, 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 and then suddenly his head splits open and he falls over dead. Because D.B. Cooper, in the alternate reality, cleaves this thing right down the middle. In the
Who's the
real
monster?
world, the Russian general is cleaved right down the middle.
Huh.
So he slips into this alternate reality, and then whatever he does has effects in the real world.
Huh.
So it's really an interesting idea. And this is one of those books that like we ordered 10 copies.
Nobody
Just
bought 'em?
randomly. No, we've sold out.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah. And for a book that had, nothing going, not a single person asked for it in advance.
Who's Oni Press?
Yeah. So, a
much
really
is it?
fun book. $4.
Ooh.
It's one of the higher priced ones, but it's better. Let's see here. Some other stuff going on.
Drinking always helps a sinus infection. Just drink more.
Avenging Spider-Man, still a great series. Ultimate Spider-Man, still a great series. Voltron. I know, it's like, come on, just give me giant robots.
I want it to be good. And it's just like,
I'm
tired of them like, oh, well, we should go into hiding because we need to find out how to defeat the bad guys when they come. It's like, who cares? How about let's have the bad guys come and fight?
Like, just give me giant robots fighting each other. Deathstroke. Love Deathstroke. There's only one more good issue left.
I read, the first issue.
There's only one more good issue left, and then Rob Liefeld takes over, so I'll be dumping it after issue 8. But, in this...
Don't you think that's fitting, though, that Liefeld's doing Deathstroke?
Well, he created the character. No, he didn't create the character. He just made him popular again.
It just seems like a character that he would
I gotta slow down on the drinking.
write and draw.
All right,
We're skipping
Avengers.
a lot of stuff there. Agent Empire. We're not going to talk about Agent Empire.
No, I'm
good
not gonna
stuff.
talk. I know, but it's not over yet because
Okay.
there's still another one to go. Did you read 1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
Okay, well here's 4.
Ooh.
All right, Avengers Assemble.
You're not getting this back.
Did you read Avengers Assemble?
Yeah. No, I didn't.
Okay,
I've got it. I just haven't read it.
incredibly pointless.
Okay. Good.
Like
I'll read it when I'm really tired
there's
late at night.
no
if I want something to read to fall asleep to.
There's Avengers. There's New Avengers. This book serves absolutely no purpose.
Are you kidding? So this is a running title then?
This is an ongoing, yeah. And it is the most worthless. Like it's
Why is
a giant. Okay, so there's this new group of supervillains, and they're like, we're all going to be Signs of the Zodiac, and then the Avengers are like, hey, there's some fighting over there. Let's go find out what it is, and it's a giant Minotaur. And they go to fight the Minotaur, and the Minotaur is very strong. And they go, oh my gosh, how are we going to defeat him? Boom, into the issue. I'm like, are you... This is the quickest, dumbest read. Like, nothing about the characters. There's no depth in any of the characters. Like, this is almost... If you had...
So if it was gone in the Marvel world, nobody would...
This would be the book you would give, like, your...
6-year-old son.
Well, I was going to say 8 or 10-year-old cousin, and just be like, yeah, look, there's an Avengers book.
Hey,
it's not going to get too deep. Don't worry about it. Firestorm. I sat down and caught up with Firestorm, and I'm sorry I did. I want that title to succeed. Ethan Van Sciver, I really wish he had been given more control over the book. He's co-writing it with Gail Simone. She left the title, so starting somewhere, I don't know if it's next issue, the issue after, she'll be off the book, and I'm hoping that will fix the problem. But it is not good.
The only time I ever liked Firestorm was Blackest Night.
Yeah. Well, and the problem is it's not consistent, and the artwork is really bad for the first, 4 issues, and then they brought in a different inker to ink the guy's pencils, and it got better. That definitely helped. But Ethan Van Sciver is a great artist, and the fact that they only have him writing and doing covers and not doing any of the artwork just really sucks, because he's doing great work on the covers, and then you open it up and you're like, oh, God,
Isn't it a different team behind Firestorm too?
Well,
in the reboot?
Yeah, in the reboot, there's basically like a Firestorm power that the scientist is investigating, and he unleashes it, and these 2 kids both get versions of the Firestorm power, and they realize if they get mad and collide into each other, they create like this Fury version of Firestorm, where they're both stuck inside, and it's kind of working autonomously, and they try to control it.
That's an interesting twist.
And, well, but the thing is, there are other Firestorms all over the world. So other people had gotten a hold of this technology. So there's a Russian one. There's one from this nation, Kurak, in the middle of the Middle East, and he's like a terrorist suicide bomber, Firestorm, and so it's
Great.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, there are some interesting things to it, but the character dialogue is so god awful and inconsistent, and there are times when a character replies
To himself?
to the other character, but the first character didn't say anything. So he's like, where to? What do you mean, where to? Where do you think we should be going? But the first guy never asked where to. You know
Why
what I
aren't
mean?
you responding to me? Why won't you talk to me?
It's just like the dumbest... I don't know. It's not good. There's a Supergirl I have to read. I haven't read it yet. So
I really like
7.
Supergirl.
Have
Wonder
you ever
Woman
read-
and Circle with Supergirl.
Have you ever read Tiny Titans?
Like a freebie
Oh
free
man,
comic book day.
I love Tiny Titans. Just hit 50 issues.
Oh, by the way, what do you think of the new DC label?
I like it. The Peel label. It's all right.
I think it's not as flashy as the last one.
Well, part of the reason is so they can customize it. They've got some design ideas behind it. But anyway, I'm all right with it. I don't have a problem. But I mean, they just changed their logo like 5 years ago or whenever the first Batman movie came out. So I mean, whatever. Okay, Star Wars: Dawn of the Jedi. Ryan Porter, who does the Comics Corner on our website on Pop Culture Network, ineedcomics.com, he loved this series. So I said, well, he was right about Agent of the Empire, so I'll give it a shot. So I went out. I found the first issue today, actually, at Barnes & Noble. 2 is already out, direct market. So, newsstand is still a little farther behind.
I read the first issue.
There was a 0 issue, and then this is the first issue.
Okay, I think I read the 0. And the 0 is just all about the build, about the Dawn of the Jedi universe.
I think the 0 may be the first half of this book, because the first half of this book talks about these pyramid things.
Yes,
and
the
it
different
awakens something within
societies.
them, and they all come to this. It's the Jedi.
Yeah.
Which you realize later on, okay, that's going to be the
Jedi.
Jedis. But
And
it's
then
like...
there's also like the Sith.
Right. But, okay, the thing with this book is that I think what was in the 0 is the first half, because the first half is this big, sweeping, epic tale of these people being brought together and then torn apart and then trying to figure out their place in the world.
There's all these different temples throughout the galaxy.
Right, and they give the different training and whatever. But then suddenly you flip the page and it's an older Jedi telling the story to 2 little kids, and they're talking about the balance of the Force and whatever. And then suddenly it switches from being this big epic tale to, the story of these Jedis, and there's this bad Jedi, and he's trying to find this place in the middle of the galaxy, and these other aliens with these big goofy eyeballs are controlling the Sith ones because they're working for him and whatever, and like suddenly it just kind of went from this great epic tale to just like, oh, it's another Star Wars.
Right.
So, I don't know, I'll try issue 2 just to give it a shot when I find a copy of it, but I loved the first half of this book, which was that big, sweeping, epic tale. I didn't like it when it narrowed its focus and slowed back down. So,
ooh, I'm excited about the next one you have in your hands.
All right, Justice League.
Yay!
This is actually a fairly controversial issue.
Why?
Because a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like that it suddenly jumped to the present time. They didn't like how it got goofy again.
Wait a minute, I don't think I've read 7. I think I read 6 was the last one I read.
6 was where Darkseid appears.
Yes.
And they beat him back.
They beat him up. Okay, I
this is
read
the next
7.
one. Okay, well, and then the debut of Shazam.
Okay.
Formerly known as Captain Marvel in the DC Universe, but they didn't have the trademark for it, so they could never title a book Captain Marvel. So they always had to title the books like The Power of Shazam, or The Fury of Shazam, or Shazam Family, or whatever. Well, finally they just decided we're just going to call the character Shazam, since we trademarked Shazam, but we don't have a trademark for Captain Marvel, because Marvel ended up, getting that one. So, so in this universe, Shazam, instead of being like the pure wholesome little kid, he's a bratty kid from an orphanage that nobody wants to adopt.
What do you feel about the team, though? The Justice League team.
Well, I don't want to say a whole lot then, since you haven't read that issue.
Okay.
There definitely is a shift in focus when you get to 7. The character relationships have changed a little bit, and there's a character in the book who's not a member of the Justice League, who's like their liaison, whatever, and he, I think, ends up being the most sympathetic character in the entire thing. So, read that. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
I think the last thing I'm going to talk about here is this book. This is called Freedom.
What is that?
It's by Seamus Heffernan.
You've got like this big... This is like an oversized...
Okay, yeah, this is what, like 11 by 9 or something?
It's huge.
$7, black and white. It's drawn in a style that almost looks like Revolutionary War...
Comics?
Yeah, I was going to say political comics. And basically the idea is during the Revolutionary War, I guess I should say the book. The book is called Freedom. We haven't actually said the name of the book, by Seamus Heffernan. Freedom, it's basically, there's this legend of this
Bird chopping off people's heads?
Liberty Eagle, as he's known. Which, of course, makes sense in, the United States
turkey.
lore, right? According to Benjamin Franklin. But the British Redcoats are trying to find the Liberty Eagle. And they're basically going from town to town. They're attacking people.
So it's like political satire, sort of?
They're trying to find... Well, basically, what it turns out being is that Liberty Eagle is like the original Batman of the United States.
Wow.
So it's like he's this first superhero of the United States, and he's just like this guy who appears in shadows. He comes out, he makes an attack, he leaves. And so it's like this legend. Like, who is this Liberty Eagle? And people, there is no Liberty Eagle. And then sure enough, there's, an attack on the British, and there's this guy who appears to be dressed in feathers. But you don't really get a good look at him. Nobody really knows.
Huh.
But the story is basically about this small boy who's traveling to Boston, I think to meet family. I forget exactly why. And he basically gets caught up in the Revolutionary War. And he doesn't want to be a part of it. He just kind of wrong place, wrong time, and gets trapped. And then he finds out that whatever this Liberty Eagle is, it exists. It's a being. This was a fantastic read.
Huh.
This is the first one. He has it set up to be an ongoing series, and I don't know if if he's got these mapped out, if there's a whole bunch of these done, like if this is going to end up being ongoing, like every 2 months or 3 months or something like that, or if it'll just be like one a year as he gets them done. But that was a really great book. I highly recommend that. It's $7, which is expensive, but it's 64 pages, and like I said, it's oversized. The artwork is really ingenious. The way he does the styling. He does all the lettering by hand, and it looks like old, like when you see old newspapers from
Looks
that
like a
period.
quick read, too.
Well, and it's really, it's laid out well, it's told well. A lot of times when you get books that are, indie press, they have issues with the story flow, but this guy's a great storyteller. I mean, this story was really well done. So, Freedom. It's from Potato Comics. It's definitely worth picking up. So I really enjoyed it. I'll let you borrow that one. You can read it.
Huh. Potato Comics.
Potato Comics.
I wonder if they'll be at C2E2. Which, by the way, it's coming up. It's coming up, folks.
I have my suspicions that Potato Comics is Seamus Heffernan and nobody else. But all right, well, we're 42 minutes into the show.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we're gonna have to do.
Didn't we talk about streamlining this show?
Yeah, I know exactly, and look where we're at. So, I think we're gonna
cover. We'll just cover one issue or one topic
when we come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Because we never said
let's
what
talk
we were
about
doing this show.
Let's talk about it in the break because
we're gonna take a commercial break.
Yeah.
And then when we come back, we'll
surprise you.
Second segment, which
That's right.
haven't decided what it is. We got some options here,
so big question mark out there.
We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
Hey guys, it's Killen, and I'm here to discuss a new show coming every Monday on the Pop Culture Network. It is the Video Game Loser Show. Every week we'll discuss the news relating to video games. We're going to talk about some releases, and have a short discussion on whatever random topic we think is relevant that week. It's going to star myself, and of course, I'm not, Dirk. So be sure to check us out on VGLosers.com, part of the Pop Culture Network. Yay!
Won't you take me to a funky town?
All right, shots of Captain Morgan. Here we go.
Oh. Remember I told you my throat was hurting earlier? Now it's numb.
Well, good. It's numb. Now it doesn't hurt. That's the vanilla.
Whew, is it?
Yeah.
It's just the original spice.
Maybe my glass was dirty. Whew. Good stuff.
All right, we are back.
Oh. Good one. Good night.
We're throwing around beer cans.
All right, so here we are, Comiholics segment 2. And so I think we've decided our topic here.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and do this as a 2-segment show, and then we're gonna try sometime in the next week and a half. We'll get back together.
We're gonna
talk about some more
birth
stuff.
out another one.
So
for
for right
popping
now,
them out for you. We're doing this for you. You know.
my little short shorts.
Hey.
My little short shorts. All right, so our segment tonight, segment 2, we're gonna talk about The Walking Dead.
Yes.
And you wanted to discuss. One of the main things you wanted to talk about was the TV show and how it's different from the comics.
Right.
But let's go ahead and take a minute to talk about the comics, since there was an issue that came out 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah. I'm behind, so it probably was 2 weeks ago. A Larger World, Part 2. Issue 94.
Here, wait, let me see this.
Which we all know something's coming, issue 100.
Oh, yeah, obviously. I mean, Kirkman does that type of thing all
I'm
the time.
afraid that he's going to kill Carl off or something. That's really going to
If he kills Carl off, I'm dropping the series. Okay, yeah, this is the last one.
Yeah.
So, Walking Dead, A Larger World. So, basically we had this guy appear a couple issues ago.
Who goes by the name of Jesus.
Because he looks like Jesus.
Yeah.
And he basically says that there are other settlements out there, and he's a runner that basically takes supplies from one settlement to another settlement.
He's claiming to be a lot like, what's the gay guy in the group who introduced them to the little settlement they live in now? Where he went out and sought them out and brought them in. Remember, they didn't trust him either?
Not particularly.
Okay.
But anyway.
He's a minor character in it, but...
Well, anyway, so my speculation was that this guy's a liar. My speculation was that there was no other settlement. This guy is going to get, a couple of them to go out, and he was going to torture them, or he's there to steal their supplies or their ammo or something.
Well, just because he was a badass fighter, that's just threw the red flags up to me.
But I mean, if you're going to survive in the zombie apocalypse, you got to learn how to fight. You know what I mean?
Which I just watched Zombieland again today, just for fun. The Bill Murray scene is my favorite.
That's really the only part of that movie I like.
Yeah,
is the Bill Murray stuff. I don't really care for that movie.
When he gets shot and he lets out this death curl.
But anyway,
yeah.
So as it turns out, though, at the end, you find out at the end of issue 94 that
really is.
There is this settlement up on the hill, this walled-off neighborhood or small town, or
it's like
whatever,
a big fort,
whatever it is. And there's you can see a couple of fires, smoke coming out. So they've got. Something going on.
It's like a big barter town.
So, do you think that's going to turn out to be legit, or do you think it's going to turn out to be like this wasteland that he's just drawing them into for some reason? Do you think it's going to be real?
I'm skeptical. I'm still skeptical.
Where could it go, though? Where could it go?
If it is real, this is why I'm skeptical, because if it is real, the direction that the story is going has taken it to a larger world. It's not going to be just about the group anymore. It's going to be about the whole big picture of, survival of the species.
Which I don't know that I care for.
No, I kind of like to be in just this core group trying to just find its way. I was kind of hoping that it would go the opposite direction. The bleak, dismal truth that there is no other settlements, and...
Or
they
if they
are on their own,
or if they are, they're small, isolated,
and they're twisted.
Right. Because there have been other groups that they've run into. Like there was the group known as the Hunters.
The governor.
Well, there was the governor in his town. There were the Hunters, who were the cannibals that were capturing the people and eating them. So you did have those other groups, but they were never This is
like a civilized society.
yeah. I was gonna say it's like an ongoing civilization.
Is like Tina Turner going to be living in like a bird cage in the middle of the town, and then like they run
Two
the
men
town,
enter, one man leave.
they run it on like poop or something, you know? That's what I'm getting at, though. Like, is it going to like go into this
Mad Max Waterworld?
Yeah, that's like large. Well, you know, that is the subtitle, a larger world. You know,
I don't like that idea. Like the idea that there's going to be this bigger social structure, this, you know, bigger remnant of civilization, I don't like, because the whole idea of what makes the zombie apocalypse so terrifying is the idea that you're isolated,
and
that
that,
there is no hope.
You're all alone. There is there's no recovery of society.
Right. You can't stop people from dying, which means there will always be a threat.
So my thing is,
zombies.
if Kirkman is going to do this, it's going to implode on itself.
Well, it has to. My one thought is that they're going to go to this town, something's going to happen, Rick's going to freak out, start a fight with somebody, and that's going to make all of them go, well, we got to go destroy their settlement. And so then he's got to go back, he's going to grab Carl and one other person, and they're going to escape, and everybody else dies in the battle, and then it kind of resets. That's the only way I can see it
and
going.
they're just on the run again.
Right. I mean, because that's the only way I can see it working out. Because do you really want to see Rick? I know, guys. We'll build blimps, and then we can travel from place to place. You know, I mean, I've got locomotives.
I've got a teleporter belt.
I mean,
okay. So here's my question: if they are on the run, the group splits up back down to a core. Who would you keep?
Well, I see. That's the other thing. Because at this point, you'd say, "Well, I want Glenn to be there," but Glenn's been there for so long. I mean, really what it comes down to is maybe Rick will die, and maybe it'll be Carl and Glenn. You know? I mean, Rick is certainly the face and the voice of the series, but you get to 100 issues, maybe it should be Carl. You know?
I think it should be Rick, Andrea, Carl, Michonne. The only ones left.
Mm. No Glenn? You want Glenn to die?
Sorry, Glenn. You know, I mean, he's a great character, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I want Glenn to live too, I guess. But you know, at the same time, somebody has to go.
Somebody's got to go, but I almost wonder if it's going to be Rick. I
really don't want it to be Carl or Rick. I really don't.
I kind of think it's got to be Rick.
Why? I like Rick.
Well, I mean, I like Rick too, but there have been a lot of characters I like. I like Dale.
Yes.
You know.
Okay, and then crossing over.
All right. Okay. So anyway,
the TV show.
There's what's going on basically in the ongoing series. How we feel about it. Now, if we go to the TV series and some of the differences between the TV series,
you know, let's start off by saying that Kirkman has avidly stated
that there will be differences.
It is different, and the reason why he did that was because he wants fanboys and girls to embrace the show and still be surprised.
Well, yeah, there's something to get excited for, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the fact that there are changes, especially because he A, signed off on it, and B, it's kept true to the heart of the story, even though some things have changed.
Well, let's discuss what is the heart of the story.
Rick and Carl. I mean, that's really...
And
it's the father and son trying to survive.
And trying to hold on to their own morality.
Right.
Because, Rick is trying to raise his son in two different places.
He wants him to be strong and survive,
but still be a child.
He still wants him to have some of those, fun childlike moments.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Sidetrack. Back to the show.
Okay, so back to the show. Well, let's start off. The series started basically the same as the comic. Rick is shot. He's in the coma. He's in the
Shane
hospital.
hangs on.
He wakes up. He finds that the zombie apocalypse has happened. He meets up with Dwayne and his son. They kind of explain to him what's going on. He takes off for Atlanta.
Yeah,
he finds Atlanta overrun. He meets up with Glenn and the survivors. And so all of that is basically the same. The only real...
And he finds Lori and Carl.
Well, the only major divergence in that storyline is...
Shane's still around.
No, because we haven't gotten to that part yet. Because Shane is around for a while after he finds the survivors.
What isn't he gone? Like
No.
after like issue 20 or something?
Well, maybe issue 20, but we're still in like the first 6 or 8 here.
That's true.
But the only real divergence comes from Daryl Dixon and his
Right.
brother Merle. And those were characters created specifically for the TV show.
Right.
And
Which I speculated for the longest time that Daryl was going to be Michonne's replacement. Like, okay, he's not going to introduce Michonne. Daryl is the Michonne of the group.
and you were wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong.
And-
Michonne is in the very end of
Daryl
the season
is
finale.
my favorite racist ever.
I like Daryl.
I mean,
You know, Daryl's like the most intelligent person of the group. Really,
well, he's the one like street smart.
Yeah.
In a sense, you know, he's
like even towards the
forced
end,
smart.
Even towards the end of season 2, when the group is just like totally falling apart, and even like Dale makes a statement, you know, this group is broken to Daryl as he's walking out. Daryl has been living on the outskirts of the farmhouse. Like he doesn't want anything to really do with the group. Like
Right.
he's just kind of fed up with everybody.
Well, but at the same time,
but he cares.
yeah, because I was gonna say at the same time he put so much on the line trying to find Sophia, and he saves that chick with the unfortunate haircut several times, and it's just kind of one of those things where you can tell that, like, you get this real sense that Merle was the racist.
Right.
Merle was the one who was really
And
the villain.
Daryl was the good guy.
Daryl was his little brother, so he always did what his big brother did. And he's sad that his brother's gone, and he wants to emulate his brother, and his brother was, you know, the last son of the Confederacy and all of that kind of garbage. And so he's trying to stay true to that, but that's not really who he is.
No.
So he's the one character that's really struggling.
I think
more
he's
than
the
anybody
most
else.
dynamic.
He is the most dynamic, and I would love. And here's the thing: they came out with the action figures, and his action figure immediately sold out, went big bucks. All the others from the Walking Dead series were just kind of like, here, whatever. But his was in high demand, so that tells you something about the character.
He's liked. He's liked.
And Daryl Dixon. If they did the Daryl Dixon crazy redneck halftime hunting hour,
You'd watch it?
I'd be watching that show every week. Him just doing his thing. But so that was the first major divergence, was that whole storyline with Merle getting trapped on the rooftop, and they leave him, and then they go back for him, and all that
What
kind
about
of stuff.
isn't the relationship between Dale and Andrea different too?
It is. They changed that.
Because it's actually a romantic relationship in the comic book.
Well, because that comes with the whole Shane thing.
Right.
In the original,
Shane hangs on in the show.
right? Originally, Rick finds his wife and son. They're living, in this roving settlement. Shane is there; he's taking care of them. So all of that follows the comic. But in the comic, Shane dies off a lot sooner.
Right. Carl shoots Shane, just like in the TV show. But in the comic, Shane doesn't immediately turn into a zombie.
Well,
he pulls the gun on Rick, and Rick is surprised, and then Shane shoots. Or I'm sorry. Carl shoots Shane in the neck.
In the comic,
to defend his dad.
Well, wait, but in the comic, Carl shoots Shane when he's alive.
Right.
Rick goes back and shoots him when he becomes a zombie.
Right.
In the TV show, Rick shoots Shane, and then Carl ends up shooting zombie Shane.
Right.
So the Carl-Rick
another
shots
big
are reversed.
difference in the CDC when he whispers in his ear.
Okay, well, wait. Time.
Okay.
There is no CDC in the comic.
Right.
So the CDC is TV only. That whole storyline of the Center for Disease Control was not in the comic.
I thought there was a small segment where they went to an abandoned CDC.
Well, I think they find a place that had a bunch of supplies and whatnot, but they didn't find the scientist who decides to blow himself up, because his wife was the.
Were you surprised that in the TV show because they changed the zombie premise a little bit?
Well, and that's the other thing I was going to bring up, is because the whole CDC storyline was only there to explain how the zombie thing kind of works, and none of that was ever in the comic. So in the comic, you never have any sort of explanation how it happened, why it happened.
Do you think that's just to appease the masses so
I think
watch
so.
the show?
I think they wanted to have some kind of explanation.
The average comic book reader, especially those that love Walking Dead, don't really want to know why.
Well, I think for most comic book fans who read Walking Dead, you're already familiar with zombies. Whereas the Walking Dead TV show is for people who've never really seen. Like, you've got the fans going, hey, you've got to watch this show. and you might tell like some coworker of yours, you know, oh, you gotta check out the show, it's so great, and they watch Mad Men,
right?
And they watched Sopranos, so they were like, well, you know, I watched the Godfather TV show, I watched the, you know, whatever TV show. So now it's like the zombie, yeah, like okay, well, this is the zombie TV show, so I'll check it out.
Well, the way I sell people on it is, I tell people it's kind of like Lost. If you liked Lost, it's kind of like that. At least that's what the TV show kind of presents itself as. And it's not all about the zombies. It's more about the social structure and these people trying to survive in a time that is not survivable.
Right.
You know.
Okay, so the CDC thing was completely new.
And then there's a part in the CDC where the dude whispers into Rick's ear that you are all contaminated.
Right.
You all have the zombie disease. So the premise around zombies in the TV show is that everybody carries the disease. You know, you may, while you're alive, as long as you're not attacked by another zombie, you won't turn. But as soon as you die, you turn.
Well, okay. In the comic, though, it's the same rules. They're just never given an explanation. And basically, the conversation that Rick had, where he's telling them, you know, he told me that at the CDC that we're all carrying the plague, and
he has
someday.
A similar conversation.
Well, he has a similar one, except in the comic, that's when he gives the speech. I think is when he gives the speech that says, "There is no hope for us. We are the Walking Dead."
Right. Because
you thought this whole time the series, The Walking Dead, was about the zombies.
That's
it's not.
right,
It's about
yes.
them, because eventually all of those people are going to die and turn into zombies.
Right.
So it's understood in the comic, because that's the rule of zombies.
Right.
You know, they don't have to bite you if you get shot, if you have a heart attack, if you die of old age.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you die and
You're
your
gonna turn
brain
into a zombie.
isn't splattered, you're going to turn into a zombie and come back to life.
Right.
And that's just understood as the rules of zombies.
Right.
And so, like I said, I think for the TV show they have to explain some of that stuff, because people are going to be like, well, he didn't get bit. How did he get turned? Well, that's the rule of zombies. How do you not know the rule of zombies? You know? You got to explain it to them. So I think that's why that whole thing had to happen the way it did. But I kind of think that speech that Rick gave saying that we are the Walking Dead happened in the prison. Right. So I wonder if they will do that, you know, throw that in there next season. But this speech that he gave here was very similar at the end of season 2.
I really like how at the end of the seasons they do this kind of sweeping landscape picture.
Like
it's
foreshadowing,
where
it's going.
Because it's a lot like what you see in the comic. For example, at the end of issue 94, you know, we just talked about the foreshadowing of this
What
big
was
port
the
city.
end of season 1? Was that him running up to the farmhouse, or was that just Carl?
That was him
shot?
running up the farmhouse with Carl.
Okay,
because Carl got shot.
Well, yeah, I didn't know if he actually made it to the farmhouse. At the
no,
end
it just
of
shows
season.
him running up to the farmhouse.
Okay.
So you know the farmhouse is coming, and then it's like this big sweeping.
Right. Okay. Now the other big change, of course, we mentioned Shane sticks around longer, and in this version of it, because Shane sticks around, it changes some of the events that happens at Herschel's farm. Mm-hmm. He and Andrea are an item instead of Dale and Andrea.
Right.
So Andrea's character is completely changed by this, because she has that relationship with Shane, and she knows that Shane is no good, but she doesn't care.
Right.
She just wants to survive. After seeing her sister die, she just doesn't give a crap anymore.
Right. Which is different, because in the comic, Dale turns her around.
Right, yeah, she wants to die, and Dale talks her out of it, and the two of them fall in love, and she's got that big scar on her face, and she's like, how can anyone love me with this big scar? And
how
Dale's
did she
like,
get cut again? It was like a fight.
I think it was just I think it was the big attack on the camp, where her sister dies. So I mean that was a big major difference, and then of course in the comic, Herschel had like 12 kids,
right,
or something living on his farm, whereas on the TV show he's got like 4.
Yeah.
And Kirkman actually addressed that. Somebody asked him about that, and he just said, well, you know...
Well, for the show...
He goes, when you're drawing a comic, you can draw people sitting around, but when you're paying actors on a set, you can't just pay people to stand there, you know?
It's like, okay, you're child number 6.
We need you to be on set for 14 days, but we're only going to pay you $6.
Well, I even thought it was kind of funny, just even the extra kids that you know are going to die because they're the extra kids that only get like 3 seconds on the show. That they were like literally they got like 2 seconds on the show, and then
Well, you see someone like cooking, and they walk in the kitchen. Have you seen Dale? And they just go.
They're the
and then they walk
they're
out.
the Star
and then
Trek
like,
red shirts, you know.
Like, oh, they're dead. And then of course, this season we had Dale die.
Yeah.
Dale lasted all the way up to like issue 88 or 90, something like that. I mean, he lasted a very long time.
And he is a key part of...
There's a lot of stuff that he...
So I'm really interested to see how Kirkman's going to fill that void.
Because the RV played a big part in some of the stuff coming up with the prison, just the way they used it. And, of course, they can't do that now. And, as it turns out, Dale... Dale, the actor who plays Dale, I can't think of his name... he originally was supposed to live. He was supposed to stay on. But when Frank Darabont was fired from directing and producing the show or whatever,
they changed it.
He said, well, if he goes, I go.
Wow.
And they said, well, okay, I guess we'll kill you off. And so...
see, that's unfortunate. That's when you see the story lose value because... people can't get along.
Yeah, well... I mean, it happens.
It's a shame. It's a detriment to the show.
Now, here's the thing.
Because I like Dale, and he is kind of the moral compass.
Yeah, he's a good character.
And actually, I love the actor. I thought he did a fantastic job. And the other thing I wanted to point out, I kind of realized why they kept Shane. Because he was a great actor, too.
Yeah.
He was a compelling character.
That guy's got a new TV show, so it was time for him.
Well, I might watch that TV show. I mean, I really like that actor. I thought he played the character well. Like, there's a lot of depth to him,
Well, but the whole thing with Otis, which was a complete never in the comic at all. That was completely new. And of course, Sophia survived in the comic. She doesn't in the TV show.
She's still alive in the comic.
Yeah, because she's Carl's little girlfriend.
Right.
And so Carl gets
and you know what? And Sophia was kind of like what grounded Carl.
Because Carl started to go a little nuts there for a while,
Sophia
too.
kind of brought her back. So, I mean, you've got all these different tightropes that, Kirkman is walking on to try to keep these characters in line. I'm really curious to see how he's going to kind of pull this off. Or if he's just going to completely shift it and the characters are going to be different,
Well, I mean... It's going to have to. I mean, Andrea is completely different, and she doesn't have Dale there to bring her around, so something different's going to happen with her. I don't know what that's going to end up being. And then, of course, when they go to the prison, the characters that they meet there, I wonder if they're going to meet the same group of everybody. And then, of course, they cast someone to play the governor. So that's coming next season. But here's the thing.
What if he leaves it out? What if he leaves the governor out?
Well, no, he won't, because they hired an actor to play him.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I mean, that was announced. I think... I almost wonder if...
Who did they hire, do you know?
It's somebody I didn't recognize.
Guess you know who I have in my mind? The guy that was like the main actor in Machete. The knife guy. Oh, what's his name? You know what I'm talking about?
Danny Trio?
Yeah. Is that his name?
Is it Danny?
But anyways, that was who I had pictured in my mind when I was reading the comic. Was him. And he's like this like badass. And he kind of looks Latin or Hispanic,
You think so, huh?
Yeah, kind of.
You think so? David Morrissey. British actor David Morrissey has been cast.
That's gonna be a tough role.
This guy.
What? He doesn't look anything like the governor.
Well, yeah, they'll put him in a wig and give him a
mustache and a long hair and...
Yeah, Danny Trio. Well, here's this. Morrissey lands a role that had been speculated to actually be a Season 1 baddie, though more recently such actors as Danny Trio, John Hawkes, and horror legend Tom Savini
so I was close.
have all campaigned for the role.
Huh. Wow.
So they all tried to get it, and they gave it to
that was
this
a total
guy.
guess on my part, but that was just, who I had in my mind when I was reading the comics, so... See, I should be a producer. I should be a casting call guy.
Kirkman said at last year's Comic-Con, the one thing I'm adamant about is I don't think we should cut Rick's hand off on television.
What?
So that whole thing looks to be out.
Why? Why is he adamant about it?
Well, because for an actor on television, that means now you got to do the thing where the guy's got the fake little nub on his hand, and he's always got the extra super long arm with a nub that always looks completely fake.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like when the guy gets his arm cut off, and you can tell he's holding it behind him with like the vest on top with the sleeve cut off. You know,
it'd be a hard role to fill, I guess.
Yeah, it just kind of it doesn't work as well on that. But the whole Woodbury storyline is something that they're going to introduce. I just wonder if they're not going to introduce the idea of Woodbury until like the mid-season cliffhanger, and then you don't get that whole storyline with the governor and everything until the beginning of like season 4. Like it's something they'll kind of tease in that cliffhanger at the mid-season, and then not really even roll out until like the end of the season.
So speaking of the governor, let's talk about Michonne.
Well, she's been cast.
Yeah.
They cast somebody to play her.
Yeah, well, she's at the very end of the season finale.
Yeah.
Which
you totally spoiled.
What? I posted
D-bag. No, you didn't.
I posted a picture on Facebook.
And you didn't. Well, first of all, no, you did on Google Plus.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah. But you didn't put here's a spoiler for Walking Dead, and then reply and put it so you have to click on it in order to see it.
Oh, you big
You
baby.
just threw it out there. So I go to my computer, I go check my email, whatever. I click the thing up, and it's like boom. It's like oh, season finale's been spoiled for me. Thanks a lot, D-bag.
It's not really spoiled for you because it's kind of like an add-on to the end of the season finale.
You shouldn't have done it, man.
Whatever. You're fine. It just made you want to go watch that episode that night, I'm sure. Michonne is one of my favorite characters. She's badass. I love how they introduced her in the TV show. Very true to how she's introduced in the comic. But I think in the comic, the group is in trouble. Not just Andrew, alone in the woods. One of the things I like about Michonne is she's kind of this no-nonsense... Oh, I got the hiccups.
Are you going to be alright?
No. I think it was a shot. No-nonsense kind of character that, she doesn't mess around, and she's the kind of person you want in a battle. You know, when your back's against the wall, you want a Michonne in your group. I mean, and then how did she become so proficient in the samurai sword again?
She just had to. They actually just did the origin of Michonne in an 8-page special in Playboy magazine.
What?
And somebody bought one, scanned the 8 pages or whatever, and put them up online, so you don't have to go buy it. You can actually go to the popculturenetwork.com message boards, go to comic book discussion. You can find the pages posted there. I posted them on our message board.
Oh, okay.
If you want to go read them. But yeah,
Kirkman
wrote, and not Tony Moore, Charlie Allred. Allred? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Allard. Wait, regardless. Allard. He drew it. So, I mean, it looks like every other issue of Walking Dead. And it's basically just her husband and his friend that she never liked are sitting at home, when a zombie apocalypse breaks out, and she tries to run home to them and then gets separated from them. She finds her neighbor has these samurai swords because he's like one of those 24-year-old with Xbox 360, big screen TV,
right,
and the samurai swords over the fireplace,
right.
She's like, I always hated this guy, but thank God these are here. She pulls one out, and she goes back to her house, and they've been infected. They're both zombies now, and so she ends up fighting them and ends up ripping the jaw off of her husband, and then realizes he can't bite her now. And so then it becomes that whole cuts off their arms, pulls off their jaws, puts them in the chains, and just drags them along so that the other zombies stay away.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting premise.
So, go to popculturenetwork.com, go to the forums, go to comic book discussions, and you can find the pages there of the storyline. So she just got good with him because she had to.
What do you feel about Glenn's relationship with Maggie in the show versus
Boy,
the comic?
Maggie's hot.
Yeah, much hotter on the show.
Well, she had one of those bad haircuts in the comic.
Yeah.
Or she had the haircut of
butch,
Sophia's mom.
Which made more sense, because, they're not going to a salon. They're making do with what they got.
Yeah, but you don't want to
probably
look like...
cut with, like, a Boy Scout knife.
It might be the end of the world, but let's not look like slobs.
Oh, whatever.
I mean, come on. You still got a shower, right?
What was it, San Diego Con, where Maggie was present, Shane was present, Carl was there, I think Lori was there. I mean, like, everybody was there. Glenn will be at C2E2.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Ooh.
So, that's kind of making me think, well, if Glenn's going to be there, he's probably going to be sticking around for a while.
Oh, you going to see if he wants to go out for drinks?
No, I mean with the show.
Oh!
I would love to go have drinks with him, but I don't know if that's his thing,
He might think you're hitting on him.
If it works, if I can get an interview, I'll do it.
And take one for the team.
Yeah. No, and Glenn's character is great too. He's, but on the TV show, I have to say that I think Daryl's the most dynamic. On the comic book side of things, it's tough. I don't really know who the most dynamic character is right now.
I mean,
it's kind of in flux. It's not.
For me, Carl is the one character that makes the comic. If it's not for Carl, there is no great storyline to the comic. I mean, he's the guy who really makes it. Or the kid, the character. Because he does have that idea of, is he going to remain normal, or is he going to end up being psycho because of everything that happens to him?
Well, in the comic, I think that the latest pressing social issue is there is this sexual tension between Andrea and Rick.
Yeah, yeah.
There's that going on. Michonne has pretty much separated herself emotionally again from everybody since her latest boyfriend died again.
That's gotta suck. Well, and Rick also has that problem too, because all the chicks he ends up falling for end up getting killed off too.
Right.
So maybe Rick and Michonne.
So I think that's
together,
that'd be weird.
But yeah. So anyway, I mean, overall, the series still hits the same major beats as the comic book. You get Herschel's farm, you get the prison,
right?
All that stuff. But the new stuff that it adds, like the kid who falls off the roof and impales himself on the fence, and they have to bring him back, and that whole storyline.
See, that was lame.
Well,
I could care less about that.
That had nothing to do with with the comic. That was completely for the TV show, but it further cemented Shane's
insanity.
Yeah, his descent into going crazy. And so you knew, once that happened, you knew he was going to kill Rick.
Or going to try.
Well, but I mean, that's what he had his mind set for. If he can get away with that murder...
And didn't you think when Lori did her little speech to Shane... Weren't you just going, no, shut up, Lori. You are not helping. You were just,
I don't even know if this is your baby. It's just like, oh, shut up.
You're just like fueling the fire, No, she said, I don't know if it's Rick's baby.
Well,
which was like saying, oh, it could be yours.
Right.
And you know what? Of all the characters to die on the TV show, because we know she's already dead in the comic,
right.
I wouldn't mind if she died. I'm sick of her character. Like... Especially, like, the beginning credits, that smile, that picture of her smiling. It's like, I just don't care for her. And like, she goes, like, in the TV show, she goes back, like, there's, like, one part, and my wife pointed this out. There's a spot where, there's a segment where she's talking about, we're the women, we should just stick to our cleaning and doing our chores and And then there's another part where she's like completely opposite.
Where Rick and Carl are out there and she's like steals the car and steals the gun.
So it's like she's not consistent on the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, yeah, she's emotional, she's pregnant. But
well, that just explains it right there.
Yeah.
I mean, chicks are crazy. And so that's why she does all her stuff.
I don't care for her character on the show.
No.
I didn't care for her character in the comic. You know, it's like she needs to die off. She needs to die off on the show, and I think it's going to happen.
Wow. They're
So
harsh.
Well, you know, this is why we're critics.
All I know is that when Daryl Dixon dies in the show, if it's not in like a blaze of ultimate glory,
Right.
like it's got to be one of those things where
He's like facing a
well, there's
thousand-
like I was gonna say where it's like there's a gymnasium full of them, and they got to get through to the other side, and so he's just like clearing the path so they can get through, and then one of them grabs his foot, and they're like, "We gotta go back and get him." He's like, "No, y'all get out of here! I'm gonna take care of this." And then you just, and then the door's shut. You never know what happens to him, and then maybe like in season 9.
he comes back.
Then suddenly it's like someone's parachuting out of the sky. It's like, who's got a parachute?
It's
And
Daryl.
Daryl comes back and he's like, I found an airplane. I'm all right.
So are you saying he's like the Johnny Storm?
He's got to stick to it.
So he's going to be locked in the negative zone.
But
when
he
comes
goes
back.
out in a blaze of glory. As long as it's not a punk. If they punk his death, I will be so pissed off.
Right.
If it's just like everybody's asleep, zombie walks into the camp, and then
Well,
suddenly he's dead.
That's one thing that you have to understand with Kirkman is never get too comfortable with the character, because anything could happen.
Right.
Well,
and like with Rick, you knew that Rick was
can move
safe, but Rick still got his hand cut off, and his
yeah.
family's been messed up.
Yeah, Rick
and,
could die.
Well, now.
Yeah.
Now. He couldn't 50 issues ago.
No.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for our discussion on The Walking Dead. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back in about 2 weeks. Talk about some other stuff.
Yeah, I think we'll do Invincible. Probably a couple volumes of Invincible, since we're all comicsologied up right now on Invincible.
Talk about some Invincible. We'll talk about Akko from Archaea.
Yeah.
I think we'll put that one in there. And then I think we'll save Secret Warriors for later.
Right.
So,
or maybe put it on the back burner and I don't know, we'll see.
I don't know. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today. Don't forget, if you want to send us some emails, you can do it to apocalypse@comiholics.com or dirt@comiholics.com. You can also come to popculturenetwork.com, join the forums, go to the comic book discussion, or if you want to go to, like toy discussion, video game discussion, you can do all that stuff too if you want to, I guess. Also, if you want to leave us a voicemail, you can do it by calling area code 217-953-4025. 24-hour voicemail line. If you want to leave like a short 15-second voicemail, maybe we'll use it on the show. Maybe we'll play it and respond to it, as long as it's clean. And it will help if you're drunk too, because really that's the big thing.
That's
we're
the
looking
challenge.
for. Yeah. So
Drunk and clean.
those two never seem to go together with me. I don't know what it is.
We've had a few bleeps on this show.
But anyway, all right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. So before we go, Mr. Apocalypse, do you have any last words you'd like to share with all the great listeners out there?
Just keep watching Walking Dead. If you're not reading the comics, pick it up. Start from 1. The weeklies are out. Get caught up. I'm excited. Season 2 is great, and I'm ready for the next season. So,
But no words of wisdom, no sayings,
No.
throw together.
No.
No great nothing you learn from a mountain man that you need to pass along or anything. No. Okay. All right, I gave you the opportunity.
Yeah, no.
Give you the opportunity. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.